I call to order this scheduled meeting of the Sunderland Selectboard. Finance Committee, would you like to call to order?
I hereby call to order the Sunderland Finance Committee, Wednesday, April 1st, 6:33 p.m.
There you go, I forgot that part, the date and time. All right, so our order of business tonight is continuing on with budget talks. Becky, do you have copies of the budget for us?
I do. Well, let's talk about where we're at.
I think there's still someone in the waiting room.
There is,
Yeah.
but I can't see the person.
You have to click on the arrow, I think, and then you can see. Click on the
No,
arrow,
not message.
on the arrow on the.
Okay, there you go, and then admit.
Yeah.
There we
Thank
go.
you. She got it.
Sorry, Becky, continue.
No problem. So,
We'll just look over your shoulder and make sure you're letting people in.
yes, I'm sorry, I can't see.
You need the wand.
A wand would be great, wouldn't it?
I
Sorry.
could wear a robe. So, the Finance Committee came to an agreement where the ending point was. And I think it's the best thing to do. I've gone through and identified a bunch of different adjustments that are possible. And there's one that's quite large. It's a change in one less students to Smith Vocational. But I think it would be best if we started where we were, and then I brought up the changes so that we don't get derailed or go a different direction, and we have one set of numbers.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I can talk Aaron into putting his up on screen.
I don't know if I have the latest budget. Let me double check here.
You had the one with that you sent me.
I did.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can email it to you, would that?
Or if you could put it on.
Sure.
Ian, if you would put it, I'm
Let me
sorry.
see if I
Aaron.
can.
You got-
Ian,
You had it right the
Aaron,
first
it's
time.
complicated.
I apologize.
No, these bowel boys, they're the same.
Oh,
Um,
thank you both.
that's the town meeting.
Okay, and I'm gonna,
Okay.
yeah, I think this way we can all see it and talk about each change instead of having anyone unclear about the numbers that we're working with. Oops. Well, okay, Aaron's in the waiting room. Find Aaron. Read my.
Yeah, so if you leave that full size, and then he'll just be able to share. But you'll have to leave it full size.
Allow, yes.
And do I need to press share or he's?
No, you hit
We're
allow.
I think
good.
it's on him now.
We're good.
He's on it. We're coming.
Great.
We're working on
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay.
There it is.
There it is. Excellent. And everybody, see, isn't that odd? It's something's,
Yeah, I mean, I think that has to have that video turned on to get it to work.
it. Is that the remote there?
I think it's a touch screen, isn't it?
Yeah.
I kept touching it, but it wouldn't go off.
Okay, switch screen is locked.
It seems to have been frozen since 5:56. That time has not changed.
Okay.
Oh,
So
so
I
it's
just need to
locked.
restart the TV.
Okay. That would be so helpful to the finance committee.
We can see on our computers.
We have
Okay,
laptops.
so you're good. Okay, that's the most important thing. Okay. So as we,
I think when you moved your keyboard, Becky, you turned on We blocked half of it.
The X over on the right.
Uh, Anybody else waiting to get in? We'll check one more time. Doesn't appear to be anybody waiting. Okay. So, here we are, just where we ended last, 2 nights ago. Feels like every night, but it was
Had a night off.
had a night off. So as we look here, I think I just wanted to clarify one item in this section. In the IT, we had originally had the 39,800.
Can you give us a line number?
I'm sorry. It's technology 23.
Okay. The 39.8?
Yeah, and I had in my notes that we could still split out the 980, the 9,800.
So make it 30 in base, so you're saying?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that takes care of that one.
And we're putting the 9,800 in,
The
Override,
first year.
okay.
yeah, and override. Okay, and.
Sorry, I can't raise the hand, but just before you get too far in, I did a little research and somebody, can I talk about this? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so I just was keep hearing Scott Bergeron's echo in the back of my head, revenue, and Dylan, revenue. I did look up, and I don't know if we've even thought about these or if they're even possible. There's one fund, I don't know if we have one, it's called Allowance for Abatements and Exemptions. I don't know if we have that fund, you're allowed to borrow out of that. The other two things I looked up were TANs and RANs. So I think TANs are tax, I think when you're,
Anticipation notes,
you-
tax anticipation notes.
yeah, anticipation notes and RANs, which are revenue anticipation notes, all short-term loans. And then the fourth thing I looked up was, which there's been a lot of, as you all know, a lot of overrides for the last couple of years in Massachusetts. Some towns spread it out over 3 years. I don't know if we even talked about that yet either, but those are just the four things I want to throw out there for possible revenue areas. That's it. Thanks.
So Becky, on the first one, do you happen to know what the overlay surplus account balance is? I know we have the 17,000 and change for this year. I want to say it's 30 or something like
It's
that.
not very much,
It's not a lot.
no.
Okay.
And another concern is the exemptions this year, the number of people coming in has multiplied by quite a bit. We don't have, I'll have the results soon, but I think that the amount of abatements that we'll be facing is going to be larger than normal.
Okay.
What type of abatements are we talking here?
Well, there's abatements and we also have more exemptions. The exemptions are paid out of your overlay.
Mm-hmm.
Our budget
Right,
for
but
last year
what
was
type
Like
of
seniors and things like that.
seniors, veterans,
Okay.
blind, those are our main exemptions.
So we actually have a senior exemption in addition to the senior workout program?
No, that's what it is,
Just, recovery.
yeah.
All right, well, the
We-
senior workout
It's only a few $1,000s, but it's the other, you can have other exemptions that are $1,000 and $2,000.
yeah,
And that's when, so the number of them. Right now, we have, our overlay is down to $17,000, which is very minimal for a town of this
It
size.
had been like 22 in previous years I'd seen.
Yeah.
Okay, just throw that out there. What about the other three ideas there? TANs and RANs, do we want any short term? Is that even a thought? And then are we thinking spreading it out at all?
On the TANs and RANs, I'm not very well versed in those, but because the challenges we have here are structural, not one-time in nature, I think that's challenging to solve that way. And I guess the multi-year is kind of a little bit of the same problem where starting a couple of years ago, a layered approach might have been doable, but there isn't a great outcome for being short the override money we have in there now for next year. Even though I agree it would be better if it could be done over time.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just thought we'd put 60% done this year and then take more out of free cash and stabilization and slowly pay them back. But I hear you. We're running late in the season, so I just threw all those out there. Thank you.
No, that's great, Joe. I love talking about that stuff. And the other challenge, we don't know what next year's budget is going to look like either.
Right.
We might,
Right.
need capacity for that as well.
Those are all great ideas, Joe.
Thank you.
We'll get back to them.
And they'd be really great if we could anticipate this from 3 years in the past. If we have a time machine, we could go back and pass an override for over 3 years. That would be great. And then we'd be,
Right.
then we'd be done.
Yeah.
Get that that Harry Potter wand we were
Yeah.
talking about.
So line 25, I know we're only talking
Yeah.
$10 here, but why are those numbers?
We'll correct it. Looks like,
I just want to make sure we're not like nickel and diming just tiny little numbers to where
it's
it
a
makes a
transpo,
difference.
it should have been 40,
Yeah, okay.
45. You're right. So if we could go to the next line item, line 37.
Line 37.
Line 37, it's the assessor's admin assistant. So I got the clear, our exact amount for this position for this coming year will be $18,516. And so I'm recommending that we put, that we get rid of the balance and not go, no reason to go for an override if that covers his salary.
Okay.
So it's.
So it's 18,516 period
Yes,
Is that
in the base budget.
in the base budget, yeah.
is that including the 3%?
Yes. Yeah, that's the full number. Okay, and then the next one, that was the same. Okay, then down to the town clerk
Mm-hmm.
line. This is a little complicated. Okay, so we have the town clerk expenses dropping to 5,890 from the 6,500. So the new number is 5,890.
Should we put anything in the override?
No. She took out the
Okay.
$610 and made it level with last year. And then on line 65 and 66 in elections, Wendy asked that we take we move the 12,000 to 10,000 in the base budget and move the 2,000 to the override.
Okay.
And then on the net expense line, take 800, leave 17,000 in the base and make 2,800 the override number.
Not 36?
No, cutting out 800,
Okay.
leaving at 28.
19,800.
Okay, 78.
So do we know what she did to drop those numbers? Did she decide not to provide meals or whatever to the people during elections?
I know on the wage part, she's gonna work more hours with Maureen. And then, on the expense side, I don't know if it was
Okay.
meals, she didn't specific.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we go down to, let's see, make sure this is the right budget. It's already there. 73 is good. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the highway energy, the highway garage energy line where we moved we moved $2,100.
Mhm.
It was 71 to 5,000. George does not know, he has not been using that, he's been leaving. George, would you like to explain this?
So that budget used to be combined as a one budget before they put the solar in. So once they put the solar in, all of a sudden, I started seeing two different lines on that. So, and they never told me the breakdown and why they separated it and how they separated it. Because a lot of times my office supplies, I've been going over the office supplies, but I've always taken it out of that energy line, because it's one line item for me. So I don't know how they separated it and how they got the dollar amounts.
So do you still need money in there to do things, or you do not?
I actually need more money in my highway garage line for like supplies in my office and, you know, paying sewer, water, all that kind of stuff out of my office supply stuff.
Okay, so we're gonna shift some of the money that's in this line down to the lines where you actually use it.
Yeah, maybe like $1,000 out of it or something to bump that up.
So the
I think last year was, or was it this year? Was it this year? No, last year's budget, I think. I don't know the numbers right now. I haven't had the update on that yet. Last year, we went over on the highway garage part of it because we had the extra work done in the office and stuff like that, so.
So you wanna move the things from the highway garage energy line 91, you think that's larger than you need, but you'd like to move it to the 90 highway garage line that's more generic in supplies?
Correct.
I mean, do you want just reverse them, like basically one is about 4,000, one is about 5,000, do you wanna reverse it, or do you want?
Or
more
do you
than-
not need anything in the energy?
Well,
line?
I don't know what you guys take out of the energy line from me. I know the energy line, my heating oil comes out of that, and
Year-to-date in the highway garage energy, it looks like there's about $2,900 has been spent. I don't know what that is on, or what if it's been
a lot of it's heating oil and
So we need something in there.
So that's on track for the 33 that you spent last year,
I think so.
Yeah.
so we need maybe 35 in that one?
Yeah.
35 or 40, I wouldn't,
Yeah,
just because,
we don't want, yeah. So 4,000 in that one, and then put the highway garage line up to, wanna do a round number like 5,000?
We do have money in the override for that. We did split that out.
Yeah, 'cause my original.
Let's go from 4,000 to 5,000. Let's start, like, to put 4,000 as the supplies, and then 1,000 in the override to 5,000.
I'm sorry, you're talking about the line just above it, the highway
Not number
garage
90.
line.
Right. So a little higher, we've basically shifted money up, but we still keep 1,000 in the override. And then, so the override amount is 5,000. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure what it, could you say it again?
Well, I'm just saying,
You can see it right behind
Oh.
you, Becky.
So both of those lines are 4,000 in the base.
Right.
and then we put an extra
And then
1,000
there's
in the
1,000
override budget for the
I think.
supplies.
Highway garage, okay.
Right.
All right, Lauren?
I guess I'm just, because I think we had a similar issue with the line item for the library energy, and it was my understanding that honestly, years ago, we went to putting the town buildings all to, the energy costs particularly all together, and then I guess there was another change with the solar. But I think when I looked back at last year's warrant, it was quite clear. You had all the buildings' energy. And on this list, it's very unclear, so I guess I just would like to know where the heck are we paying all the energy bills from?
That would be you, Becky.
So we have one central, that one that was at 75, that's the line the majority of the bills will be paid out of. And then we go over that pretty early on, so then we hit the smaller energy lines, the contingency and the departmental ones. And that's something, I've got to pull them all together and
So
sort that
it's
all
not
out.
broken out like the solar one is obviously paying the electric and stuff like that, but then like George's garage
not
energy is paying his oil or his gas or propane or whatever.
And same with the town hall.
Okay, so
We've got-
that's what that,
So those
town.
smaller numbers are non-electric. The
That's what-
electric's all
yeah.
being paid, supposedly being paid out.
That's what I've been figuring out, because I assumed at first they were all electric, but it's all the other fuel.
So it's not duplicating line items, you're just kind of using all of them to kind of pay for
Yes.
the overall
It's
energy.
taking, and
and then-
last year I came up short using
Okay.
all of them. That's why
Okay.
we're increasing the main electric line.
So then
Is that how
next
it
year-
kinda works for you, George? Is your
You don't pay.
highway
electric
garage
bill.
energy?
I do not pay an electric bill, no.
Right, but, so that energy line, that's where you're paying for your heating
Heating oil
oil,
and-
propane,
Yes.
whatever you need.
Yes. So that
Or-
comes out of that part, yeah.
Okay,
And then the little smaller ones, the energy from the town office, energy from the library, energy from highway, that's the little ones that are for the extras that it doesn't
But
cover.
the library's only electric.
Right.
But,
Yeah,
but-
that's what I was gonna ask.
but it
If
still
the
has-
library is only electric.
Right, its
And
its
that's-
energy line is zeroed out now in our budget.
Well, that's why they haven't been using it, because the electric is being paid and
Right,
they don't
from the
have
other
it.
fund.
alright. Dan, go ahead. I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just had a quick question, and I don't know if it's been done already, but, have we gone through the capital to see if there's any leftover old capital projects that have money that can get returned? I just went through an hour of that today, at the request of advisory where I work.
I've gone through, much of it, yes, and there's a couple
Okay.
smaller things. But let's focus on the budget tonight if we can.
Yep, sorry, just a question, thanks.
Well, so because we fund our capital projects from the capital override, it wouldn't necessarily directly free up cash for operating expenses? Am I thinking about that right?
Exactly right, it will only, and that's when I've done it,
Yeah.
is working with the capital planning. We did turn back a huge amount last year.
And we already had decided that we're not gonna add to capital this year, so it's, did
No.
we just kind of have to decide that?
No, the
No, I mean-
capital planning committee has approved.
No, that we weren't gonna,
We're not shifting.
we're
it.
not
Indicate those-
shifting
we're not
from the
adding
general
to
budget
capital
to
sta-
capital
right.
this year.
Right.
Last year, we added to capital
Right.
stabilization,
Oh,
this
right.
year we weren't going to,
Right.
that's what I meant.
Yes,
Exactly, because last year we had that problem.
yes. And we had to,
And
right.
that's what provoked the use of reserve
Wendy's
funds.
waiting.
What is,
Wendy's in the waiting room.
okay. So is this item that you were discussing with George, is there any more to talk about?
With the energy piece?
And
So
you're
that-
good with that, George?
Yeah, so this said that the energy went down to 4 in both scenarios, and then the garage went up to 4, and the base scenario went up to 5 in the override. Is that for everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, so that was line 90. So we don't have that. And we're okay, that's split. Sorry, 32,000. So now we agree. I did receive a memo, an email, I think from the police chief that, I'd like to read it. Becky, going through what you submitted here, I can offer back to you the following. One, the given base budget, our new student police officer position will not be funded after early January 2027 unless there is a grant offered or a special town meeting prior to 2027, or if the override budget is passed.
Right.
He said if the override budget allows for the full year payroll, and it will. Given the base budget and the override budget, there will no longer be any part-time officers covering holidays or time off. I will have no reconfiguration, I have no way to reconfigure our purchase maintenance fees as the base budget shows a $4,000 decrease in our expense line. everything I mentioned in my earlier email regarding the potential 5 or 20% cut will have effects to the police department services to include no more part-time officers, the potential loss of a new police officer, no officers working on holidays, potential loss of certain shifts, and an extremely difficult time to cover benefit time off call-ins. So, he's
Just remind us what we
summarizing the
do.
no
Yeah.
override
Well,
budget.
that's what we can use in the.
Yeah, can he come to town meeting?
He's always
I-
at
I
town
know.
meeting.
Oh, no, I know, but it's a really difficult situation trying to separate facts and feelings right now.
Correct, it is. It's tough.
You know,
Okay.
the problem is that the total police department line actually went up, it's just that it's to get to 1%, to have it go up by only 1%, a lot of things had to get cut, like, that's the problem.
Correct.
It still went up overall,
Okay, so the one other difference between.
over last year,
Between your budget and mine was the part-timers are still in the FinCom budget. No, they're in,
They're
No,
only
they're
in the override.
okay, and I had wiped them out, so
So part-time police,
you're keeping them in the override?
Yeah, we had them in the override.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's,
so part-time police are meant to be out of the fight?
No, I think we're discussing that, because
Okay.
we had,
no, that's what I had
there's a discrepancy,
interpreted,
yeah.
and so I'm putting it back in
Okay.
the override.
Yes.
Sure.
That was our intent, was if we get the override,
He will have part-timers.
we
in
want the
store.
part-timers so that we can cover holidays
Yep.
and we can't,
Yeah.
because we don't wanna go indefinitely without, cutting,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
all holidays, but we have to think about some of this too, because once you start saying there's gonna be nobody working police department on holidays, what do we do for Memorial Day parades? What do we do? We're not gonna have
Yeah.
police coverage to do a Memorial Day parade.
Well, our parade's not on a holiday, our parade's on Friday.
Well, that's true.
But point taken, like,
Yeah.
generally.
There might be some other thing we would have done on a holiday.
But, but that becomes my concern, is not having them on holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
that-
agree.
So that 32,000 represents the new police officer after February, and the 12,000 is the part-time wages, and then he's losing expenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different,
Yeah.
like, it's different.
It is
Yeah,
different.
that's why I think we need to keep it in the override. I don't think we
Oh,
can cut
yeah.
it out of the
No.
override.
No, I agree.
So I have the wrong numbers on this, I think. So, we have, in the baseline budget, we have the police chief wages, the full-time officer wages at 414,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have any police department overtime or part-time police?
I have overtime of 9833 in
Right,
the
Yeah.
base, and in the override of 2167. I have no
part-time.
I have no
Yeah.
part-time.
so
And then-
I still had part-time, so part-time is 0. And then
Part-time is
9,000
0.
in the override.
Nope, 12,223.
1222.
1222, sorry, in the.
Okay,
Yeah.
I had that off.
Yeah, so total for police and basic, 635, 395, is that
Yeah,
what you have?
that's what I have now.
And then 688, 185, and overall.
Yeah, and then this is just one of those classic examples where in these types of things, you make these investments that just don't get a return because of various issues, because we made that initial investment in that police officer, so we had kind of lost money to begin with, right?
Ironically, for money, it's a 0 increase budget. It's not actually a cut, it's just that we've had to cut services to keep up with cost.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, the next line item, if we go to the civil defense, 141.
Mm-hmm.
And your budget is still split into 2 pieces. As it was before, I did confirm it is the code red. If we're gonna use the code red system, we have to pay the full 6,000. So we have to move it all back.
Okay.
So it's 6,000 but no override amount, just 6,000 base.
Right.
Which one is that?
141.
the other discrepancy I had with you guys, line 160 on highway fuel. You have 9,000 in the base budget and 9,500 in the override budget. I had 12,000 in the base budget and 6,500 in the override. I think we were worried about operating the highway department if the override fails with that little amount of fuel.
My notes say ask George.
Oh, good.
So I didn't make any other notes other than ask George in my notes. You can see right here, ask George.
So how the fuel works is I purchase all the fuel and I bill out each department as they use it, and then that money gets put back into my funds, which is always been part of my general fund for up until a couple years ago, the fuel got separated out for some reason, which I don't understand why, but it was always part of my highway maintenance budget itself. So that money was used for highway maintenance and stuff like that, but I always had enough money in there so I could purchase all the fuel, and then the money gets, like I bill the police department, they can pay me that. So that's why they have a fuel line item, because that gets paid back to me. So the number's always been large. Sometimes, a lot of times I don't get quite that high using it, so it always gets spent into my general fund too.
So am I understanding this right, that part of the need for money in this account is to float buying the fuel that you'll later get the money back from these other folks? So if you knew you were buying 4,000, I'm making up a number for yourself.
Right.
If you only had 4,000, you couldn't be buying for everybody because you would run out of money in that account, or how does that work within the year?
You can overspend.
Overspend within the year, right?
Yeah.
So you just need to land on the positive side. Because like when I look at that line right now, through March, we've spent $3,500. Now I don't know where we are in the reimbursement cycle or where we're gonna land,
Yeah.
but I'm comfortable with whatever you two think is the right number there.
So George, do you think it's better to secure $3,000 more and go with the 12,000 in the base budget?
12,000 now and then 6,500 on the override?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that'd be fair.
Okay. Okay, we'll do that there.
65.
65 in the override line and 12,000 in.
And then Becky, you had a note to talk seasonal wages in one of your emails,
Yeah.
which is just above. Do you want to do that one now?
Yes.
Perfect. Since
George.
we have George here.
So George, I spoke to you today a little bit about the seasonal wage line that has been cut, and learned how much support they give your department. Do you want to talk
So
about?
over the years, our department used to have 5 people in it, like back in the late 70s, and then it went to 4 people, maybe in the early 80s, and then now we're down to 3. The summer help helps us do a tremendous amount of work through the summertime. They help us trim guardrails, signs, anything that's growing into the road, those guys will go and trim it. They paint stop lines for us. They paint all our teardrops, marking all our basins, drains and stuff for the winter time. When we have a construction job to do, there's only 3 of us, so somebody's usually in a hole, someone's usually in a piece of equipment, someone's driving a dump truck. And now we need people to do traffic for us. And usually our summer help helps us do the traffic, or they run around, one of us will be doing traffic plus one of them, and they'll run around and get parts and stuff for us because we're so short-handed a lot of times in the summertime. So they're an essential part of our everyday work that we do in the summer.
And so it's going to be a real problem if there's no budget.
Because if Route 47 right now has so much traffic on it and it's so dangerous, we need 2 people to do traffic on that road constantly. And if I have to start hiring details, it's gonna drain my budget so quick and we're not gonna be able to do much of anything.
And the town detail is $58 an hour?
The town detail is their hourly wage plus overtime. So it's a time and a half wage, that's what they get paid. So if they're making more money than what the detail rate is, I'm paying them more money anyway, because that's what the town pays. But a lot of times it's hard to get any of them to do a town detail, because they don't really want to do a town detail for the
Well,
rate.
then the problem becomes,
Then it just keeps coming out of my general fund.
no,
so
but I'm just
yeah.
thinking, we're gonna be in this catch-22 situation,
Right,
right?
you're gonna spend it here or you're gonna spend it here, so.
But the police department, if they're cutting, they're not gonna have anyone to send you.
Right, so I'm gonna have to hire out.
But
So,
are these things that you're proposing like a mandatory task that needs to happen, or is this something that we can?
Well, that's catch basin repairs,
Oh,
pothole
yes.
patching, grinding the potholes out, paving them.
Well, maybe we
Maybe
just have
maybe you're
maybe we have potholes
I
for
mean,
the year.
it's not great.
You can let your roads go to waste, but it's gonna cost you more in the long run.
I don't, I'm not saying I wanna do that, but this is where we're at, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fair that we might have to do less projects. I also think that whatever projects we do, we should try to do both as efficiently and effectively and safely as we can.
Correct.
So I'm very much in favor of putting something back in this line.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that means we need to take it out of other lines, it's not just an ad,
Yeah.
but I think we want to organize around giving George
Yeah,
what he
something.
needs when they do the jobs they're
Yeah.
doing to do them safely
Yeah.
and effectively.
Agreed, middle ground there on that.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough. We could go through every line, then there's a reason for every line for us to have it, and we need the override to pass. That's the end goal. So what would be the absolute base that you could do to get through some of these projects, and then potentially we have potholes that we're not a fan of, unfortunately.
The potholes will eventually get filled,
Yeah.
but it's gonna take a lot longer, and they probably won't last, because a lot of time, we purchased a milling machine 4 or 5 years ago maybe, so we like to mill the hole out, patch it the right way so it stays.
Yeah.
I mean, we can throw blacktop in it and it might stay, it might not. But anyway, I could probably get away with like $4,500 in there
Basically half.
for now, yeah. And if any can go in the override, that'd be a bonus.
Yeah,
We had the rest in the
we have
override.
the full in the override.
Yeah,
So we
Which
could
means-
do 45 in that, and then put the rest, or put 43 in the.
Is there any wiggle room on that fuel budget? Because I still feel like that was maybe potentially
You
high.
could probably drop 1,000 off of that.
Okay.
And then I was going through some numbers for the labor wages.
Hang on, can I just,
Yeah.
so just to confirm, so for 153, we're doing 4,500 in seasonal and then 43 in the override?
Mhm.
And then for highway fuel on 159, we're doing 11 and then 75 in the override. We're shifting the 1,000 to an override, is that correct? Just making sure I got my numbers right. Okay, go ahead.
And then you were saying, George?
On the labor wages, when I calculate it out, I come up with 122,934 instead of the 124, so that's an extra $1,600 there.
And does that have all the, whatever,
The
COLAs?
COLAs.
That's with the step increase and the
yeah,
3%.
we went back through the numbers, we had
Okay.
done it.
So what's the final number again?
122,934.
Thank you.
Alright, so that makes the seasonal wages more reasonable and absorbed in the base budget.
So we've still cut overtime to 0, except for if there's an override, right? So it's like we just can't, obviously there may be a snowstorm that you can't help or some,
Well, snowstorm comes out of snow and ice anyway.
okay, so
So if there's a windstorm or heavy rain, flooding or whatever,
Tornado, we had those.
with the tornado, yeah. My guys agreed to go to a comp time type thing for now to see if we can get this passed. They would do that. But we'd have to watch that pretty close so the number don't get too high, so.
Yeah.
I also don't think we expect you to have less. We don't want you to do the same with less, we want you to do less with less. So if it means, it means inferior pothole filling or no pothole filling.
Yeah.
And that's just what we're paying for if we don't pass an override.
Correct, yeah.
It's not, we don't expect you to do the same great job.
More or less, yeah.
Right.
Until the point it becomes an insurance problem.
Right, so, it's awful, but it's what you have to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that everything, George? that
So,
was on your
were there
list?
questions on the tree warden expense?
Oh, that's-
Yeah, can we do less, we cut that tree warden expense in half, because we just said we won't trim the trees unless they're not, unless necessary. So
Well, tree warden, that's not tree trimming, right, George? Or is
It
it?
is.
Oh, it is?
So we have,
Yeah,
so we have a small bucket truck that we can do smaller trees with, that we maintain ourselves. But when we need to hire out, like if there's a large dead tree somewhere that's a hazard, we have to hire a tree crew to come in. And that's right now about $2,800 a day.
Mhm.
So it doesn't go very far.
Good.
And sometimes if you get a good tree crew in here, you can get 4 or 5 trees down in a day possibly.
Yeah.
So we try to make a list and get as many as done we can. We work alongside them to make the money go farther, so.
But we did cut that in half, so if the tree's marginal, it stays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, that's not the year to take down.
We wait until it falls on the power lines and let it become Eversource's issue?
Correct.
That's the truth of it,
Hopefully
right?
the wind blows the right direction.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. But I have a good rapport with Eversource. I work really well with the tree guy there, so he's cutting down a lot of trees for me over the years.
Yeah.
So we have a few on South Main Street that are gonna get done hopefully soon, so.
Good.
Can I ask a different question on snow and ice, just because you're here?
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of the expensive, and I know snow and ice we can deficit spend, so it's not as much a budget focus, but a lot of cost goes into materials, obviously. You know, sand, salt, whatever else. Like, how are you seeing it? Are we having more usage? Is like the cost going up? Like, what are you seeing on that? Because that's something we don't look at a lot, because it happens after the budget's over.
So salt from probably 4 years ago has gone up $20 a ton probably.
Okay.
Right now, we're paying $81.20 a ton. We used to pay like $30 a ton.
Yeah.
1 year it went up, 1 year it went down, which we were surprised, but then it jumped right back up. I'm assuming this year it's probably gonna be close to 100.
Yeah.
And asphalt's the same way. Right now we pay, I think, 98 a ton, and I'm sure it's gonna be well over 100 this year.
Asphalt and salt are almost the same price per ton.
Correct. It's terrible.
That's just amazing that they're so close in price.
Any other
You listen to
questions?
this discussion though, and you have to realize we enjoy good services in this town because we pay for them. And if we don't pay for them, we're not gonna have them. And that's just the bottom line.
George, since you're here and we're still talking about this, we did cut your road machinery, you know, in the non-override to 15 and then put 7,000 back in it. Is that something that you can do for a year?
We could make it work, I think. It'll be tough, but we try to do most of the in-house stuff ourselves, most of the stuff ourselves. But if it's like a motor or something like that, it has to go out. Then if we overspend it, we overspend it. We'll try to rob from somewhere else.
Any more questions for George?
Thank you, George.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much for
George.
coming, George.
Thanks, George.
Going down to line 176, Board of Health salaries. Okay, so that number there, this is the line where I explained to you that the collaborative is asking me to try to hold some money left in my budget. This budget. So to start, I want to move in the base budget. I want to change that to $15,372.
This is in line 175, Board of Health salaries.
Yes.
So I missed that again, 14.
15,372. And that would leave $7,264 balance in the override. And I bring that to you for discussion if that should be zeroed out or not.
If the additional should be zeroed out?
Yeah.
So I know we did talk about this last time, and I guess one question I have is just, so we're looking to work with the consortium on some, arrangement that will start on July 1st with them?
We started working with them last summer,
Okay. And so
but
they,
it's totally grant funded through this year.
okay, that was my question. So what they're doing, so they're doing the same amount of work this year, we expect them to do this next year, but this year it's grant funded, and then it no longer will be, and we know there's no chance of getting another grant, I guess?
But they're trying to apply something for next year, so that's part of their,
I see. Okay.
their lack of certainty in their calculations, how much they can and how much they will charge us.
I mean, I trust your judgment on how those conversations are going as to which of those two numbers should be in the override.
I
That's my
agree.
feeling. I don't have any better idea than you do. Which would you like?
I would like to keep it there,
Okay.
at least it could be,
Okay.
be the ticket to
So
let us work with them.
when we get that contract going, just so it makes a little bit of sense to me,
Put it in a different.
well, no,
line.
do we actually tell them what we want them to do?
Yes, yes.
So we can decide we want inspections done every month on a place that is an issue versus just an annual inspection, Board of Health inspection.
Yes.
Okay.
They've had, when need arises, when complaints are there, when
Yeah.
there's real concerns,
Yeah,
and the Board of Health votes to call somebody in,
right,
they
so,
have, and they have been actively doing that this last
so
time.
it's somewhat under our control how much we spend there versus an assessment.
We have a choice on level of service, is what you're saying. right?
Yeah.
Or asking.
A little
And,
bit.
and as the new arrangement isn't finalized, I can't, that's the way it's worked to date. So
Okay.
I assume it will continue to
All right.
work, but I don't know what the details of
All
their
right.
contract.
I just
might
wanted
be.
to make sure we weren't gonna pay a flat rate.
Right.
Yeah, and we have not made a commitment, so we
Okay.
can control that
All
and
right.
make sure not to. Unless the flat rate is $7,000 and it could be a real deal.
And then we add on for anything additional. Got it, okay.
Any other questions on that?
So we're keeping the numbers we just changed,
So
15 and 72,
Yeah.
okay.
Lowered the base amount.
Hmm.
Okay. Line 91 and line 92.
191 and 192?
Yes. So, we have a graduating senior this year, we have learned, and so we can remove one of the two students from next year. So the 43,388 in your budget can be changed to 22,345 in line 192.
191.
191.
But now
Yeah.
she's going to 192 because
Okay.
of transportation.
Oh, 190. No,
Line 192 is next, you're saying.
So Smith vocational assessment goes down to 22.
345, yeah. Okay, and then, the next line where we had in the override, we had 20,000,
Mm-hmm.
we can remove that.
Okay, great.
Great.
So this is one student and we're sure it's gonna happen, or this is still the maybe student?
That's why we left it in on
It's the younger
transportation.
student who is.
Who's a maybe? Okay.
No, they're.
No.
the
There for
maybe-
sure. The maybe student we didn't budget for.
Correct,
Okay.
That's huge to the bottom line.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
yeah.
I'm so glad she's graduating. It's such a good thing to graduate.
Congratulations.
Question?
A small question on, I think last time you were gonna double check the COLAs on the library wages. There was some uncertainty around what the final number there was.
Right, see how they have the 1.7,
Right, how many
1.1?
Yeah,
I didn't get that done.
okay.
I
Well,
still.
let's just
So those
flag it,
numbers are still
whatever, whatever
flagged.
it's gonna be, it's what it'll be. I just wanna make sure to touch on it. Get those right.
I saw that note and I didn't know what it meant.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Our budget gap is now back to where it was when we started this meeting on Monday.
Which is great.
So I went back up, but now we're back to where we started, so. Because we had cut things that didn't make sense. Now we're only cutting things that didn't make sense. So we're still over, but we're not,
Yeah, the guy, I'm looking. It's 77, right?
we're going the right direction.
Is that what you're saying?
Sorry, what did you say?
I was just asking to-
I can't see.
Oh, it's because it was up there.
77, 427.
Okay, I have to figure that one out.
Well, like $5,000.
Oh, I know. Here it
I didn't
is.
need
So, line 215, I apologize, 216, it's the town park.
Mm-hmm.
So you all asked me to check in, make sure that some of the money wasn't keeping the lights on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not paying the electric bill, but it's paying for the light bulbs. And it's paying for a number of other things and smaller items, trash bags. And Steve has asked that if we could keep $250 in there, it would really help him out.
150 or 250?
200,
250?
yeah, $250.
Light bulbs and plastic bags.
Gotta get those
And then-
LEDs.
And then still keep, then put like 1350 in the override to get it
Correct.
back to,
Okay.
Yes. Okay, and then.
talk about nickel and diming it, right?
Yeah.
FERCog went up in the end more than I knew they had gone up, but I thought it was 3%. FERCog is line 219.
Mhm.
And
218.
FERCog? Oh, I'm looking at different.
Yeah.
218. And that new number is 30,803. So here we go in the other direction. Just over $2,000 change.
And that's a 20% increase over last year's budget.
It's huge for them. I can't believe. They usually don't do that. They try to go down. I was really shocked.
So that's the trouble though, you could only keep that reasonable for so long and then you gotta play catch up. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, that's what's happening to us,
That's-
right?
yeah.
We've stayed
Relatable.
reasonable for so long that
Yep.
it's all catching up with us now.
Okay, so I think those were the main changes and differences I had from you all.
Really appreciate it, Becky.
Yeah, that was great to walk through them like that. Can you remind me, and I'm sure we decided this, I can't remember, I'm looking at soldiers and veterans benefits in that same section that Town Park and FERCog were in, and there's a difference between base and override, is that possible?
Yes.
Okay,
The reason I'm comfortable with that is they give you an estimate every year, they know how many vets will be drawing from your town, and they track that and they give you an estimate of what it might be for a given year. And it's been low the last couple of years.
Okay.
okay,
So I'm hopeful that it'll be low.
okay, great.
And if the override passes, we'll be fully funded, so that would be helpful for our vets. Any other questions? Just want to go through.
I had, the only other question I had from last time was the town employees' medical and life. We were just trying to parse
Yeah.
the split there between current employees and retired employees, and then confirming just the subsidy amounts in each of those buckets, just to make sure everything lined up, and then to know what the retired employee portion was, so we could be thinking about OPEB down the line, and just, so, nothing we need to answer right this second, but it'd be good to confirm those. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, we talked about that on Monday, I agree.
And that, we do have one other small increase, because I triple checked with Heather on our health insurance line, which is line, it's that 207.
Town employees, medical and life.
Yeah, that's what we're talking
Yes, the
about.
one we were talking about. And she did a fine tooth comb and went up about $1,700.
So on that one, isn't that the line or the one we typically carry two, or we budget for two extra family plans in the
Yes.
event somebody takes insurance that didn't have it previously? Do we have to do that?
Normally I would say no, but there've been a lot of changes in our subscriber numbers. And that's the reason I was double checking this number is we were given an 8.3 increase on our health insurance rates this year. But our new totals with all our subscribers were only coming up with 664,000, which is a 2.7 increase over last year. So I'm
Right,
just.
so that
not-
means we've dropped numbers of people carrying the
Yes.
town health insurance.
Yes.
But, again, this is a horrible thing for me to say, but we have to think of it this way too. If the override doesn't pass, we're gonna have less employees, we're gonna have less people taking that insurance. We
So-
have to keep them for a little while, right?
Yeah.
If the override doesn't pass, we do, I'm sure there's some type of coverage they need to, needs to be maintained for whatever it is, 3 months, 6 months.
90 days, yeah.
But that's the reality of the override not passing, right? There's gonna be people who lose their jobs.
That's why
It
we-
sucks that I have to say that, but I think we can drop that
Our
number.
base budget should be lower, and then it should be in the override budget if we need it, and we don't have to lay people off.
Right.
So we have, Heather estimated 44,000 for the two family positions, two family policies into
Yeah.
this number.
So drop one of them in the base.
Well, those are the two extra that we,
I
right.
understand, so drop it
But I
down.
think, right, in the base, I think we need to drop one of them and then
One more.
we probably need to drop both of them because we'll probably have a couple people that aren't employed anymore, that we're not gonna be paying their
So-
insurance for a long
So
time.
not only do we not have a buffer, we don't need.
Shift the 44 to the override?
But what we were
Yeah.
making
I would-
assumptions that they're in our plan. Because
Yeah,
they're
that's
not,
true,
we have
too,
no
right.
idea.
Yeah, that's true.
And we
I
didn't.
feel more comfortable dropping one in the
Yeah.
base, I think.
Yeah.
Because I like the fact that we have a little bit of variance there, because that is a big number. If it swings around or people join, it really throws things off in a
Yeah.
hurry.
Yeah,
But I think taking one out in the base would make sense.
yeah. I
So
agree.
what should our base number be then?
So let's, remove 22,000.
That's big. Yeah, and, we should always, have to always understand we have to have some contingency.
But you said that number was already off, so what is the right number?
Yeah.
No?
Okay, that new number is 664,886.
So it'd be 644.
642.
Sorry.
So 642,886, and then 664,886 in the override.
Yeah.
Total, no,
Total,
no,
yeah, yeah.
districts.
22 in the
I
override.
guys, I missed that. So in the base budget,
642,886,
okay, 642, okay.
and then add 22,000
To the override.
to the override.
Oh, so we didn't do another one?
Yeah, we just
We
took
did
one
one.
out
I
of
just took
there
one
and
out,
then
okay.
added it back.
So 664,886 is the number.
Right, so you're gonna have 22,000 there, not the whole lot.
Oh, God.
So
Yeah, I
adding
did that the
22,000.
other day, and I was like, oh no, the override's over
No,
1.3
this is
million.
22 is there. Here. This is 22.
Yeah, that pink is.
We just need
22.
22,000
see.
there.
Yeah, that should just be 22, yeah.
So,
Good job.
4?
This is, my eyes are.
No, no, it's not.
So it's 642,8.
So the yellow
And then
column's
the
right,
green- yeah,
the
the
pink
green
one just
put
needs to be
22,000.
22,000. We'll add
Okay.
22,000.
There we go.
Perfect, thank you. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
That
So-
works. You're doing a great job.
You're doing awesome.
Really put you
Yeah.
on the spot here.
That's his official position forever now.
I mean, I was surprised when I came in today that this was the open seat, like we have some sort of assigned seats or something.
We did.
Um,
I feel like we're becoming creatures of habit, we're here.
This is, I'm not, every Monday, Wednesday, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be like, where is everybody? So, am I right that the budget cap now is about 48,000?
Before we do that, let's just,
Okay.
what is your total expense line? That'll be the easiest way to just compare our, we have 11,258,944.
We do.
Yeah.
11 say it again?
I have 11,247, so I missed some.
11,258,944 is the base budget I see, which was a reduction from when we started today of 57,000 change,
So it's 11,258,
primarily driven by taking out that extra health insurance and the Smith.
And Smith.
Yeah.
Those two are the bulk of that
80%,
difference.
Yeah.
so 11,258,
944. And then override 11,921,324.
No, I have.
I have 11,99249.
Could you say your number again?
It's the one that's right up there is what,
Oh, there it
For
is.
the override, I have
11,924. 159.
Oh, I have 11,2.
We all have different numbers for the revenue total too.
11,924.
well, that's Aaron's up here on the screen,
Yeah.
so.
All right, what did I do?
And there's
I
a
have the
difference in
11,199 that he
override,
has.
too. There's-
Yeah, I didn't touch that one.
2,000
Yeah.
yards in the override too.
did I screw-
Yeah, I have
did
that
miss
same one.
What do you have for?
Anyway, we're talking 50,000 about as a still a budget shortfall. Now, the one thing, since the library is here, the one thing that this budget includes, we haven't talked about in detail, is we put $13,000 back into the library expense line, where that the library is being cut disproportionately compared to other places, and it is, I mean, honestly, even with that being put back in, the library is taking a bigger cut than the other departments. Most of the other departments are taking, you know, schools aside, most of the other departments are 0 or small decreases, and the library is 8%, what I have as a total. So,
On the library, you're showing 8% cut in wages
no, overall.
overall.
Because I was just thinking of for the waiver, it's, I don't know, again, I wanted to look at each department, not worried about wages versus expenses, and just kind of see, I figured the state would care about the total cuts to the departments, not so much wages and other things, because that's so different, right?
It's the total cut to the town minus certain protected expenses that are fixed. So it's not looking at how much was the police cut, how much was the fire department cut. It was put all of those together and how much were those cut and then how much was the library cut, and those have to be within 5% of each other.
The percentage cut of the total cut for the town compared to the
Of- yeah,
percentage
but
cut.
of-
Okay.
Well, because overall, the town isn't cut, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because the
They
library,
take out the school.
okay, take out the
They
school.
take out the school, they take out, there's, Catherine, do you want to speak to the handout or do you want me to? She might not be on.
She may have children.
Right. So, we went to a webinar today that explains how the waiver process works. We have to go through the waiver process if the budget falls below $243,550.
The library budget.
If the library budget, that means the town is not spending enough on the library.
What is
So-
that total again? 200?
It's on the top of the handout that's coming around.
Oh, I never got it.
Oh, it's still coming. Sorry, Dylan and I were
So
still.
two-
Dylan's keeping
243.
all the copies.
Our budget
The
below
vice
that.
chair.
Just one.
Is it just one page, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
And Crystal needs it.
Does anybody else need one? And
George, you want
Fun
one?
reading.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Okay, you're gonna watch an anthropologist try to explain math, so, oh, Catherine's on.
Okay.
Catherine, do you want to explain the handout or do you want me to?
Sure. Either way is fine. But I apologize. Having a hard time with my connection here. But essentially, yes, you're correct, Heidi, that it's the proportional cut is within 5% of the entire town's budget minus the schools and
if we're within 5%. It just means the process is different.
Oh, absolutely.
The bar
At
gets
least
higher
we might get it.
if we are out of proportion. If the difference is more than
Yeah, if we are out of
5%,
proportion,
it's a much higher bar.
yeah, if we are out of
that we have to go
proportion, we will not be, we risk not being, receiving the waiver and not being certified, so no longer being a library essentially.
And when it says fixed costs, you know, like, so if I compare, say, the library budget in the budget fail scenario to like general government, the biggest line in there is municipal buildings, energy, and solar at $100,000. Is that considered a fixed cost? Because like that is really skewing the difference between those two, that someone might say, oh, those aren't being treated equitably, whereas, you know, that's not a discretionary item. So I guess maybe we need more clarity on what's fixed and discretionary so that we can do that comparison.
Yeah, so there was a spreadsheet that Catherine emailed, I think to you, Becky, that represents what you're seeing in the screenshot. So you can, there's explanations of what all of these different boxes should have put into them, and then you can enter numbers. I'm sorry, Catherine.
Oh, I have it,
Yes, that's correct.
I didn't get through it this afternoon.
Is there an easier way to get to sort of a ballpark so that the finance committee has an idea of what number we're aiming for? Like, there's no way to
No,
like
not
just.
until the town's budget is finalized, because that final budget is what becomes the base of the cut to the town's budget that determines whether or not we're within 5%.
Okay, so you're, we're at the base, we're at roughly 10% cut to the library budget. On our non-override budget, we're 10% of the 243.
I think Val said.
I said, I had 8%, but whatever. It's,
But your wage numbers may not be right because you're.
right, our wage numbers might be wrong, so.
So we're
8
in
to
a
10.
range from 8 to 10.
Right,
And then we just need to just subtract the schools out and figure out what our variance is overall.
I mean, that's gonna be the most bit, right? So if we take our total budget minus all the schools,
Yeah, on both the columns,
right,
then we can get it to a quick and dirty here. But I know my numbers don't add up there, it's exactly so.
Are you looking for what's at the bottom?
So total expenditures minus the total budget plan minus the school budgets in both columns. And then
well, it's only the yellow column that matters.
Yeah.
It's only the,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
only the, we
right.
don't care about override, because we're not gonna do these
Well, we
cuts.
need to compare
If
it,
the override
It's
passes,
11.
we don't have to go through this process.
but we need to determine the variance, so we have to compare it to our override budget to
Total.
get to a percent budget cut, right? So
No, it's
our-
over last year's.
Oh, over last
Yeah,
year's,
yep.
okay, got it.
Yep, so you're gonna be entering fiscal year,
So we wanna
Last
take out our,
fiscal year
our
and this
current
fiscal year.
budget minus the school budget.
Wait, Wendy just texted me.
Minus last year's school budget, not this year's?
No, so this year's budget minus, take the schools out,
Okay, this year's budget, the FY '26 budget.
right? So there's a bunch of items for.
Okay, I just got this message from Wendy that says, hi Ally, I know you're in the middle of the finance board meeting and I'm not able to get on yet. I just wanted to say that the Graves Library building was cut and that building, that line item pays for oil, the alarm, the sewer, water, internet to have fire inspections. I pay the bills for that building, so I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. If that does get taken away, I think the Graves Library building would have to be closed.
But I think we left 3,000 in there.
Okay.
And I believe that
Sorry for
is
the
close to
sidebar.
the actual in prior years, so.
Okay,
Sorry for that.
so it wasn't nothing, we didn't know what it was for sure, and she explained it, that's great.
Yeah.
Becky, the waiting room again.
Oh, thank you.
So, I may be naive in saying this, but our base budget this year is not gonna be cut compared to last year.
It's a,
Even if you take the schools out?
Oh, maybe, but I don't think.
Because we take the schools out, and that's what they're looking at, basically. The difference
Okay,
between
that's
last
true.
year and this year,
Yeah.
after you remove the schools, after you
Yeah,
remove
okay.
debt service and fixed costs. But they have a definition for fixed costs, it's not necessarily what we would consider fixed costs.
Workers' compensation, health insurance, unemployment, other employee benefits and retirement.
Right, so you're gonna take out also
The workman's comp, unemployment, yeah, and I have the sheet, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to get it figured out before the meeting.
And
I think I.
I
printed
do
it
want
out,
to
but-
stress that we're looking at last year's sheet, but it would be a new sheet, so we are looking at the FY '27 budget. That's what we're looking at.
We're supposed to write in the FY '27 budget? Okay. Not 26.
Yes, yeah, so, right. The
So we
form
look
that
at
I
this
gave
year's
you guys
budget.
For FY '26, it's last year's, it's just a sample. But they would want to know is FY '27 numbers.
But we have to figure out the variance off the 26.
So we have to say, we have to look at this year's budget and last year's budget, this year's school budget, last year's school budget, and then say the difference. So take the schools out and say, how much did we cut or not cut our budget between the two when we took the schools out?
Right,
There may be some other things we can take out too, but that's the main categories.
right.
Well, that and health insurance is another big one.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
it's-
depends on what you consider fixed costs. I mean, when I look through, like, the general government lines are cut anywhere between 2 and 6% as I go through this and look at it. Police is down 6%, highways down 7%. Those are all 26 to 27 in the base case. But if we're gonna count like municipal energy and elections and things like that, then it's gonna skew and it's gonna look like less of a cut in those other departments and areas because, I mean, are those fixed costs or not is the ultimate question.
They have a definition of what they consider fixed.
I hear that, but
Yeah.
like, there's an extent to which we want to work within the bounds of this, but there's also an extent to which, like, that doesn't dictate our budget.
Right,
So we need to do the actual calculation, see what that looks like, and then think about the reasonableness of that result.
yeah.
Right.
So what you're saying is that a cut to the library of 8 to 10% gets us within 5% of the other departments generally, the town generally, is what I'm kind of hearing you saying, Dylan-ish,
I'm
maybe?
saying we're,
It's
most of,
close.
all the other departments that we have the ability to cut are being cut, not by the same amount across the board, and there are exceptions to that, like, the civil defense throws, that the other protection department is way up, but like, that's,
But that gross numbers.
but it's a very small dollar amount, right? So like, that's the other thing is, like, fire department is way up because EMS is in there, and that's an assessment. Should that come out? Like, it should, but on this formula, it wouldn't, so.
State and county
Oh,
assessments do come
assessments
out.
do, okay, sorry,
Yep.
that's great.
Yeah, so on the screenshot here, there's A, B, C, and D. There's 4 categories of things that come out
Okay.
before you look at the
State and
difference
county.
between last year's budget and this year's budget.
So then I think the next step is, I think Becky, we'd need you to do this calculation, because we can talk about conceptually what we're gonna do, but we need to see the numbers.
So then the other question I have for the library is, we had put library expense up 13, even though you guys had zeroed it out. I say you guys, but I'm also part of the library board, so full disclosure, I feel like there's a conflict of interest, I'm having issues, I'm a little schizophrenic. The library expense, we just kind of threw up 13 at the last meeting, because we're like, it just feels weird to zero the library out more than we're zeroing out everything else. Even though we knew why, but I guess the question is, we know the salaries might be off, but is that how the library would want us to throw money back at the library?
Catherine, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so that's something that the whole board needs to discuss. They meet on Tuesday, April 7th, and we will certainly be discussing that. From my perspective, and this is just me as an employee, not as representing the library board, I believe that at least adding like 3,000 of that towards salaries as opposed to library expense would make a huge difference in what kind of services we would be able to provide.
Because isn't it true, Catherine, that one of the categories that got zeroed out was substitute wages? So that now if someone's sick,
Yes.
the library's just
Yes.
closed? So having a little bit of substitute
Yes.
wages would be helpful for keeping the library open when someone was sick.
So since we're still needing to
Absolutely.
figure out whether the 13 is the correct number, can you guys, by the time you have a number, can you wait till after the Tuesday trustees meeting to know which of the line items to put it in?
Yes. Right, we can wait that long? We can wait till next, it does mean that we need to have a meeting next Wednesday night, which we hadn't talked about.
So, I mean, I just wanna make sure I understand what you're asking, Lauren. So, your thought is you're just gonna take that 13,000 and appropriate it possibly different, but you're not gonna come back to us and say 20,000.
We're gonna take, I think, whatever number you guys say is gonna make sure that we're not disproportionately cut, because if the override fails, we need to be able to successfully get a waiver. Otherwise, we're gonna lose another whole chunk of money, which would make it even worse.
Can you articulate further, not that we want this to happen, so what happens if we don't satisfy the MAR?
Catherine, you wanna say what happens if we don't get a waiver?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we do not get a waiver, we are not a certified library. So we lose about $15,000 in state funding towards the library. So that's no contribution from the town, that's just funding for the library. We also are essentially no longer a library, I think, in the way that Massachusetts understands libraries. We would not be able to be part of a network. We would not have any digital resources. We would essentially have our building, access to what is inside of our building, and our residents would not be able to visit other libraries and use their resources either.
Well, they could visit, but they couldn't take out materials.
Yes, they cannot use their resources, they cannot borrow anything.
No
Most likely
interlibrary
they can't
loan.
participate in programs,
What's the number in the base budget? we
yeah,
can
no
get to
ebooks,
to
nothing.
avoid
They don't know. That's what we need to
Okay.
calculate.
Yeah,
so that's what the spreadsheet, you
Okay.
can calculate, you can manipulate, but
I don't know, it's weird, because then it turns a library budget into an assessment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it basically, yeah.
It's weird to me.
Yeah.
And as much as
I mean,
like,
essentially, the MPLC sets the municipal appropriation requirements so that the town does consistently invest in the library. It's not necessarily, an assessment, but it is saying that you need to consistently invest in the library as much as you invest in other aspects of your town. And if you're not able to meet it for a year, you can apply for a waiver. So there is that bit of flexibility.
the way that the state library commission explained it is if a town does not fund its snow plows, it shouldn't expect the neighboring town to just automatically plow their roads, right? If the town doesn't fund the library, you can't expect that your residents can just go to another library and use their books as a way of letting the town off the hook.
So this assessment
but we also let other people use our library. Like, it's
Right,
not a
but
one-way.
they can, but if you're in a town that was decertified, then you cannot take a book out of our library. If you were,
We would not,
Yeah.
yeah, we would not provide services to a decertified library.
it's not a good thing.
So
The
these,
bottom line is, right, it's not a good thing. And yeah, there's a bit of a carrot and a stick, right? So
I mean-
as long as you keep funding your library, then you are entitled to participate in other state programs that let you enhance your library. If we were not receiving the benefits that we get from being a certified library, we would be not providing the level of service that we provide to the town. So we get extra money in state aid. We're able to apply for grants that support certain programs. There are benefits to funding the library equitably.
yeah, it all makes sense. So is this thing gonna tell us what we have to have as a base budget for the library?
So
Like
the other
minimum?
night, you started by saying a number, it was 243,000.
Yeah, so if the library's budget is below that amount, we have to go through this process that we're
Okay.
explaining.
So
So
And so without the override, it will definitely be below that
right,
amount.
which is
So then this
219,000.
Right, so then the second piece is figuring out, was the library's budget cut proportionally to other parts of the town, minus the school, minus the assessments, minus the four things that get taken out of that equation?
And the one question I have on that process is our regional, our South County, they do have the word county in it, but it's not really a county service, so.
So we can definitely.
Hopefully any regional services are taken out as well.
Right, so the spreadsheet has instructions, but if there is something like that isn't explained in the spreadsheet where you could easily figure out this goes in this box versus this box, the state commission is very easy to work with and they're used to answering very specific questions like that. Catherine and I haven't been through this. It's been a long time since you've been through this, so we don't necessarily know the answers to those kinds of questions, but the state would.
All right, so last dumb question here. So this 243 is a mandated baseline number that the state has established for our town that we have to hit.
To not need a waiver.
To not need a waiver.
And
To not
then
need-
if
yes.
waiver, then pass test number 2, which is
Yeah.
the equitable
Yeah.
cut test,
Okay,
which can be done with this calculation.
yeah,
Yes.
so,
And if we don't pass an override, the library is comfortable with the relatively big cuts, will make adjustments, just doesn't want the cuts to be so big that they lose.
yes,
The
so
ability to
we
get
should
the
get to
ability
the
to be a library.
number, and then we can work to a point where we can justify that we're not overly cutting the
Right, we're not
library.
penalizing the
compared to
Well,
library.
everybody.
hopefully.
And if you look
Well,
at-
What if the number's $300,000? Like, I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
like, we need to know what that number is
Yeah.
before we
Right.
can say,
We can-
yes, that's.
We need to do a little
Yeah.
math here,
Yeah.
some fun with math.
Oh, yeah, yeah. This is no fun. And I love our library, so.
Well, I mean, and if you look at the things that have to be done, part of it is doing the worksheet and part of it is having a narrative that sort of explains, yeah, this is a super crappy year for Sunderland, and we made the cuts, and I think that, you know, even if you have to, you know, I'm guessing, Catherine, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're off by a little bit, but you have a good explanation, I don't think they're out to get you. I think they're really out to protect library services, you know.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the town is gonna be going through this process, because the town is the one that sets the budget. The library is going to be offering supporting documentation, but it's the town that actually has to apply for the waiver.
Mhm.
So, there's a specific set of instructions that
Yeah.
if it comes to that, we'll be working through that,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But it seems we're in trouble no matter what, you know,
Yeah,
Without the override, yes.
yeah.
yeah. But this could be,
Well, for example, I mean, we gotta find out about SM, South County Medical, or EMS, because that's a huge increase. If they don't count, that might help a little bit. I mean, Catherine, do you have a rough idea, what would, I mean, 243, what's a
No,
rough
don't
idea? I know
want
you've been here
something
for
in
10 months.
this?
I think
What's
the
the
board can
243
take
is the base that we have to be at?
Yes, so there's a very specific formula.
You have to match what it was last year, minus the
So
average cuts for the town?
No, so the way they come up with the municipal appropriation requirement is they take the last 3 fiscal years' budgets, or what was appropriated to the library, you know, and get the average of that, and then you multiply that by 1.025%. So it's a very small percentage increase, but they do want to show that the town is investing in the library by providing a small increase in the budget every year, and that really is to just match inflation. It's not necessarily to expand services or anything like that.
And we definitely don't want to lose our license, because I know a place where that happened, and it's really hard to get it back after you lose it, or accreditation.
They said it's a 3 to 5 year
Yeah, it's
process
crazy.
to
And it's
get certified again.
So we don't want to lose that.
Catherine, I have one more,
Thank you.
I have one more question. On the back of the page, it talks about regardless of whether or not we receive a waiver, the MAR will continue to grow at the standard rate. So do I understand that if we get the waiver, the future MAR calculations will still be based on the non-waiver amount or on the waiver amount?
So next, oh, sorry, I'll let Catherine respond.
I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's based on the,
So it's still based on your budget, but still growing at 2.5%? Is that what that's saying?
It's the number that's listed at the top under MAR.
Uh-huh.
Next year's MAR is gonna be this number times, what is it, 1.025, Catherine?
So the MAR is calculated based on the higher of the MAR calculation for that year or your budget for that year if it's lower. Am I understanding that right?
If our budget falls below the MAR
Yes.
this year, that doesn't mean we get a lower
That's
MAR
right.
next year.
Well, not only not lower, but it won't even be a third of the calculation. The third of the calculation for this year will be this higher 243 number. So I'm just thinking ahead, like, if we successfully get a waiver, we're gonna have a steeper cliff to hit the MAR next year,
Right.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the more we go in the hole this year, the
Yeah.
more we need to get out of the hole next year.
But that's a problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how how do we plan for that?
Well, I think it's just like you guys, like Nathaniel said on Monday night, if we don't pass an override this year, we're gonna be looking at an override the following year. I mean, if we never pass an override, we got a problem.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the structure of this formula is sort of problematic. Like, you never reset, it just continues to march on, and like, I get it, but that's hard, because other budgets don't work like that. Like, the town clerk's budget, to pick one at random, doesn't say, well, the town clerk assessment was this last year, even though it was down here, so that's the starting point for the next year. And so it's going to be harder to catch up, regardless of if we have a waiver, it's gonna be harder to catch up, even if we have the waiver granted, that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, the state isn't setting this up to punish directly, but they're setting it up so that it's truly seen as an exception, not something that towns can just do year after year after year as a way of not funding their libraries. So it's designed to allow towns who have one bad year to go through some paperwork and to show their math and demonstrate that they weren't punishing the library disproportionately, but then next year, things are back on track.
Right, and I think also the history, if you go back 10, 20, 30 years, in some towns, the first place they went to cut was libraries, and that's why this went into place, is to protect the libraries.
Yeah.
And not to force the support onto the state. They have to say that you gotta kind of
Right.
have enough skin in the game.
Right.
Or else
Right,
we
the
don't have
town's not
skin in the
supporting
game.
it, the state
Yeah,
has to.
Dan, go ahead, I see your hand up, and
You don't care, we don't.
I was just gonna say, that just looking back, it looks like there's about 8 to 10 a year, and they rarely get rejected. I could see no evidence of anybody getting rejected for a waiver request. But it's not a big number.
Yeah, and also you have 5 years, that you can apply for a waiver and then you're cut off. So it's not like you can just perpetually apply for a waiver. And every year that you subsequently apply for a waiver, there's more and more work that the town has to do. It's really
Of course.
painful.
Yeah, we don't want to go there.
In our override budget for the library, are there also already cuts in there embedded as well, or is it a steady state compared to this year? Just trying to, I can't remember if there were cuts even in the override budget for the library.
Yes.
That's right. It's right there. See, that's why the cuts are all in the expense line. And I think there are cuts in the wages, but we don't, I'm
So
not.
We didn't put an override, we don't have actually override numbers for the library, that's a very good point. We didn't say, this is the cut number, but what is the better number? We
Yeah.
didn't do that for the library for some reason.
So the budget actual, the
I
expenditure.
thought the 13,000 was the,
well, that's where it is.
You guys put it
We
in
had it
at
at
0,
zero.
and we pushed
We
it
added
back to
13,000
13.
back.
so that's the override number, right, with the 13,000?
Well,
No, the
13's in
override.
base.
the overnight number was 31, you know.
No, the override number is
Oh,
44,000.
Right.
31.
No,
No, the
it's
total.
31,286.
Yeah, so we have
The
two.
increment is 31,000, the total, if the override passes, is the 44 number that Sharon just said,
So
Which is
two-
flat from current.
So the
which is flat
override
from the year
portion
before.
is
Exactly.
the 31, and that's the 8 or 10% of their budget.
So the COLAs aren't in here. The other thing that isn't in the override budget that I think should be in the override budget is the increased library support wages for if we get the override passed, to be put the 7 hours back in the library support wages. Like the library took they took
Yeah.
some substitute out, and they also took the 7 hours a week that the library was open because that was grant funded. So
Yeah.
that's not in here either.
Yeah, I would love to see the override budget.
So
make
I
the
feel like that was-
library whole.
Yeah.
Those numbers need to go to get the library back open those 7 hours. So we need the numbers in an override budget that gets that back.
Yeah.
So we don't have them in there yet.
I would love
I
to
would-
see the
yeah,
override
we need to
budget
see
have
that.
the library to where it's supposed to be if we want it to be. And then,
So I think we have to be a little careful there, because like George's highway department and stuff, some of these other departments aren't getting back to whole
That's
with
right.
Yeah.
the
It's the
override.
5% cut.
As much as I wanna
I know.
do it
yes.
for one, you can't have
Spending that
the
extra money.
highway
Yeah.
department or the police department not
It's
being
true.
made whole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
think that's a
fair,
good point.
it's fair.
And we could fail the waiver because we're treating our
Yeah.
departments.
I think the difference, I mean, it's not a real difference, but what the downside of this is pretty scary for the library. Like, it's really scary.
I mean, I think it's scary all over for.
It's everywhere, because the downside of George not getting money is your
Yeah.
suspension on your vehicle, right?
And remember, the
Yeah,
override
and then
budget for the
down
library, I
to
mean, for the school is that there's still
Every
cuts.
department
Yeah,
affects
that's
us,
true.
every single
You know?
group affects us
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah, no, our
And it
override
sucks.
budget still is cuts, that's that's for the library, yeah, so those 7 hours aren't in there.
Yeah, and I think we just need to figure out what the wages are. Those two wage lines need to get.
The wage lines need to be confirmed. We're gonna
Yeah.
hear from the library about maybe
So-
moving some money up into wages, and then we need to do the math of this and figure out if that total 219, 434 and the fail needs to go up in order to complete a narrative around passing the
Yeah.
waiver.
Within
Right.
5%.
Yeah.
Within 5% of the
Within
6
5.
and 7%.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
All right.
Fun.
yeah.
Okay, I'll work on that tomorrow. And the wages, I will confirm with Catherine, because I have been working with Heather on the wages, so
That just doesn't look like the percentage is right if you
Right,
give
I
everyone a
agree.
3% COLA. that-
Right, and there's a couple people on the sheet for, COLAs and steps and stuff that also aren't in there, like, there's a couple,
Right, but does that, like the support one, does that, once you take out that 7 hours, is that really what's left?
I don't think the 7 hours.
The 7
is-
hours aren't in here.
Okay,
7 hours is not in.
all right.
No,
The 7 hours. is
so
not
I
in
was
the
asked to
municipal
do it, sorry, I was asked to do a 5% cut from the FY, from our current budget, FY 26 budget. And so the FY 26 budget doesn't include those 7 hours because that was grant funded.
Yeah.
So that's what I presented to you guys.
Okay,
So, Catherine, where we're making sure, so the library director wages and the library support wages clearly don't have the COLAs and the steps in them, so we just wanna make sure those are right.
And that will help with the MAR.
Yeah, because I was told not to add any of that.
Yeah, so we just didn't, I mean, the other places we went back and did it, and these
Yeah.
just, we
No,
haven't done that for
I've
that.
been adding them, Catherine, so I'm sorry, I think I'll double check what happened.
And that's a big help with the MAR.
Yeah, because that'll make that.
Because that's the biggest part of our budget is wages. So you put the 3%
Right.
in there.
Yeah, I mean, the
and then-
3% brings up to 8682 for the director. Obviously, I don't have the support breakdown, so we can't figure that out right now, but we can.
Right,
at
and
least
then,
address
and I
that
think there
question.
is a longevity in there, and, so there's a couple other little bits of money in there that are gonna increase those 2 lines.
Well, narratively, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get those lines right.
I think Catherine's is done. I think that's right.
It's not a 3%.
It's only 1.7, it has to be at least 3.
That's definitely wrong.
I mean, either that or the calculation is done wrong.
Or last year's
Was there a
done
longevity
wrong, or-
too?
Only one person on the library gets longevity.
Yeah.
Right?
And there was
Yes.
no steps this year?
There was
There
steps for
should be,
2
Catherine
other
should have
people and then,
at least half.
Right, so my point is, but all those numbers for increases should be over 3%. It should be 3,
Yeah.
4, something like
Yeah.
that.
should be like
Right.
4.9.
Right.
I'll go back and double check.
So basically, the only 2 areas, it's this library area and then the medical and life area about the breakdown. I think those are the only 2 open questions we have, where we're not expecting massive swings on either, but just to,
Yeah, but we gotta get them.
dot the I
Correct.
across the
Right.
top.
So in the health insurance, it means going back and double checking, making sure that the 55%,
What
What
the subsidy
percentage?
is and then
Yeah.
what percent, and then maybe that doesn't impact this budget, but just so we can start thinking, what is the breakdown between town employees and retired employees of the total number?
Yeah.
Is the less relevant one, and the more relevant was just confirming that the subsidy for retired employees is 50%, or that there was a different general law adopted that allowed us to change it, or whatever.
and I found that today,
Okay,
Wendy and I. We did adopt it, I don't have it right here,
okay,
but I'll bring it on Monday. We
Okay.
did prove out that, and
Okay.
there's in the policy, so in the bylaw that was adopted and voted by the town, it documents that the changes to the rates and percentages, plan changes can be changed through policy.
Okay, great,
And that means the select board can vote those changes.
okay.
So that change was kosher, but we still don't know the break, okay.
So then it's less relevant because the breakdown is not really gonna impact this year. So then I think the only thing we need is the library, and otherwise the
Okay.
budget is set.
Yep.
Great.
So the next step is now how we're gonna fund the base budget.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, once we have those answers.
but I mean, we're gonna be in a 10 grand difference, so I think we should still come up with a general game plan.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's less, at least.
I have 100,000 in stabilization and about 175,000 in free cash to balance the base budget. I think I'm off by like $1,000 with Aaron, and then there's this variance here, but like, it's still.
What were
around
the
there.
numbers again, Dylan?
If we used, if the override fails,
Yeah,
we would use 100,000 from stabilization and around 175,000 free cash. It's not worse because of how drastic the cuts are, obviously.
Right. And then we would wanna compare that to what we would be pitching in to get to the override budget, right? And then showcase how much more we even have to put in out of these reserves and to fund the base budget.
Well, in the override, it would be about 100,000 from stabilization, so same number, and then about 40,000 from free cash. So the main difference between the two budgets, it's less about the amount of free cash that we're putting in, because either way, there isn't a sustainable trajectory to use free cash to plug the hole.
Yeah.
The major difference is the expense side of the budget.
Right.
Like the services are being cut. That's the major shift. Now, we can talk about if that's what we want to do or if we want it to look or feel different. But that's how the math, subject to these last few small changes is looking.
So the stabilization was even at 100K each, and then the difference between the free cash on both ones.
It's like 140,000 difference.
I mean,
We're putting an extra $140,000 into the
base budget.
base if it fails.
I mean, I think that's a good talking point to say that even in the base budget, we're dipping into our reserves to even make that happen.
Well, and there's 50,000 we'll be using in free cash to cover the snow and ice deficit that we know we have.
Right.
And 75.
75 is the deficit? Okay, 75,000.
What?
I can get you an exact number tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, what I'm
Whatever,
basically
yeah.
saying, we had to dip it in our reserve. If we don't pass the override, we had to dip into our reserves way more than we would normally do.
we're not funding OPEB, there's
Right.
lots of things.
There's a lot of things, and so if we don't do it, and we've already had to dip into our reserves this much for this year, guess what, town? We're gonna have a
Bigger
override,
rate, yeah.
override next year, and then if we don't pass that, then
Even bigger cuts.
we're gonna have even bigger cuts, and we're gonna run out of all our reserves. You
And we're
know?
gonna run out of all of our services.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if we're gonna cut them this much this year, what do we have to do next year to cut them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
George is gonna be a one-man operation, and the chief's gonna be a one-man operation, and,
Fire department will close.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's wild.
Becky?
Well, sorry to interject,
Go
but I
ahead,
can't, I know you guys can't see me, but then that's when you gotta look at some short-term debt too. And we gotta explain to the town, we don't wanna do that either, but I just was researching as you guys were talking and everything. I mean, we're one of the lowest debt towns in the state. We don't have much debt, and we don't want that, but that could be what happened. We have to look at more revenue over the summer if this doesn't pass, And also, if we have to wait till next year, that's when we tier it for 3 years. And people get hit a little bit each year for 3 years, well, a lot 1 year and then a little bit the next 2 years. I mean, there are ways to do it. But I think we have a good population and a good momentum of people that are gonna come out and vote for the override.
Becky, last year at town meeting, there was a sick time buyback item. That was a separate warrant article that we used, I believe, stabilization funds to
Yep,
pay for.
60,000.
Will there be another one this year? Are we?
They have not asked.
Okay.
And
I'm just trying to think of other uses of
Yeah,
our reserves.
and I'm looking into one person has been paid out, but the second hasn't been paid out from that yet, from last year, so I'm following up to make sure they still need it,
Okay.
if we can get the money back or not.
You know, because we're using 100,000 of stabilization in both of these scenarios, and we used 138 last year, like, that's not an unlimited amount of funds. What is the
No.
balance of that, 300?
It was 300 and.
So, you know,
A couple more teachers retired
yeah.
because they have 35 kids in their classes.
Should ask them to use their sick days.
State law requires up to 30, so you can't have 35, but 30 is not good either.
Yeah.
All right, so we basically can do the base budget with this plan, right? So then,
You don't have to make more cuts.
Do you need Catherine to figure out the library staff numbers properly?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it with Heather and then talk to Catherine, because they should.
So Becky, how can we best support you over this next week as we get through finalizing warrants and motions, getting these last few numbers in, and then I think the last thing that has to happen after the select board has decided on the articles and the numbers is us to recommend them as the finance committee?
Yes.
So when would you like us to think about meeting, and what else do you need us to do over this next?
And I think we do have to also meet next Wednesday because the library is gonna have a meeting on Tuesday, so we're gonna need to meet on Wednesday.
Even if it's just to vote on the final
Yes.
number.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, so we're meeting Monday and Wednesday.
okay.
Okay.
Unless you don't need the finance committee Monday, and then the finance committee can meet with you guys on Wednesday. Is there, because the select board is the one that has to do
Yeah,
all
but
the.
it might be helpful to go through the warrant. I don't know if that's, what do you want for an agenda on Monday, I guess?
No, I thought right, because we can't finalize the budget till those questions are answered. I was thinking we're gonna finalize the budget on Monday, but.
But we could start voting on some of the warrant articles that are not,
But they haven't been to the lawyer. I'm sending them
Oh,
like
okay.
tomorrow, and I'm gonna email this out.
So it sounds like we need both committees Monday and Wednesday next week.
She can always release us if it turns out she doesn't
Yeah.
need us. We
Yeah.
should post for both.
Yep.
I
Okay.
agree.
That sounds good. No, as I put the numbers in and get some more questions answered, I'm gonna send out what I think is close to a final budget. I do wanna confirm. So when you said, so I already have 100,000 in stabilization in there,
Mhm.
so is this 100,000 more?
Mhm.
Okay, that's what I already had in there.
Yeah, no, for the base budget, which I think we all agreed that we had 11,258,944. To get to that number on the revenue side, those are the two inputs, about 175,000 free cash and then 100,000 in stabilization. That's total, not in addition to.
Okay, so that's only 25,000 more than I had. I'll make sure
Great.
that I don't have a discrepancy on the revenue, and if I do, I'll call.
Yeah, just send the file back around. We'll take a look. Aaron has
Yeah.
his, so I think
Yeah.
we'll be able to place him there.
Okay, and
and
Aaron, if you would send me your final tonight.
Sure.
That would be
There's-
huge help.
There's a little discrepancy between the addition for the override and the final override budget by looking at Ally's, it's like a couple $1,000. I'm 665 and you're what, 667?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay, so I have to find that.
maybe we can find
We'll
out.
look it up. Find
Yeah,
it.
let's
Yeah.
find it right now.
Yeah, we-
Okay.
Do you wanna look at these?
so we voted on an $800,000 override, and looking at these numbers, it's a little bit under that. Do we adjust that, or do we?
We can't.
We can't.
It's,
And
So
I
we
think
just
that
won't
that's
use as
smart.
much free cash, so
I
we're-
think-
well, we didn't know these last
Yeah,
couple of increments.
yeah, yeah.
That was the major difference.
Right.
Otherwise, if we had known that, we might have said 750.
But does
Right.
it have to be levied? Isn't it just raising
It's right in the first
the
line.
levy capacity?
Okay, that's a very good point. I don't think there's anything different about overrides than other
Not one.
taxation in that you could not levy, you could not go up to the limit.
Yeah, we've done that before. It's been a while,
Isn't
but
that-
This could be building in
Let's go
additional
down
levy
and see.
capacity for future years.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, we got it.
Or,
okay.
or we use less free cash, so it's like we
Given
can
that
decide
Yeah, given that we're still
Yeah.
using
Just think I had to
reserve.
say.
and stabilization.
yeah, I would stick with 800, use less reserve.
Yeah, but in general, I do think, it's another good lever of flexibility to be below the limit, although as a taxpayer, it's like, okay, you're 2% below the limit, you go up 2.5, and now it's 4.5. That's still a jump to me as a taxpayer, even if it didn't require an override. So there's a little balance there, but not our problem right now.
Oh, I love that problem
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Wish I had it.
Yeah.
This weekend, we're gonna start knocking on doors about the override. Is there somebody on this team who has attended all of the meetings who could, in whatever format, help me create a comprehensive list of what services are at risk if the override fails? I know some of them, but not all of them.
I mean, I think
Like
we,
anybody who can connect with me outside of meetings?
I think we all need to agree on the messaging together, right?
Well, we
No.
can't really do the messaging, that's not, we're not allowed.
Yeah,
Well,
you guys.
We can just
Well,
give
we can
information.
articulate the cuts.
Right.
So-
That's what I'm asking for.
Yeah, that's the only, that's,
And that's something we're going to be doing for town meeting anyway.
Yeah.
Not in purpose of
Right.
being a proponent of the override, but just to articulate the difference between
Yeah.
budgets.
It's just
Yeah.
facts.
That's right.
Yeah, and I don't think we're ready at this point.
We're not ready to do
The
that.
sooner Jess gets that list though, the better,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we,
I mean, we know some-
we really need to put that list together ASAP.
I mean, we know some things. We know that
We know the big one.
the police officer that's being trained won't get to be hired. We know,
I just don't want to misspeak and then we
Six
change.
staff member at the school.
right, we know that the library won't keep their 7 hours that they had this year.
They
Yes.
risk,
Actually, we can't talk about that because it's not in the override either, so we can't talk about that.
Yeah.
I think it's important that this
Sense, yeah.
message is consistent and unified. I
Right.
don't think, like, I want to get it, I want the message and the
Yeah,
facts
that's
and the numbers together as soon as possible, but we're just not there yet. I don't
Yeah.
know if we'll have
Okay.
It
those.
almost seems like
details
your
together.
budget numbers have to go back to the departments, and then departments have to say, factually, this is what we're gonna do. if we
I
get this money."
have reached out to every department
Yeah.
in the past.
It's only the library now.
And after Monday, I've sat down and talked. and
Yeah, I mean, that's why George was
Right,
here
right.
tonight.
So we'll do
Yeah,
that,
and that's
we'll do
why
that on
Wendy
Tuesday.
and
We have
Heather
not
made
had that.
changes.
We have not had that we have not had that specific conversation at the library since the 20% cut.
Right, so I met with Catherine this past week
Yeah.
too, I mean, yeah, that was last week. What day is it?
Yes.
And I will meet with her more tomorrow because I've got to make sure we're on the same page and I want to review where her numbers are coming from. But so that's, the department heads are clued in. I'm sharing that information with them.
I mean, I have a copy of the budget, so if you wanna just, we could eyeball some of the things that are in here that we know, right? Like, George had a cut, the library had a cut, like substitute wages, so that now if someone's sick, the library will be closed that day. George has less seasonal help, so the
You could
mowing
also-
and the,
you could just
trees.
say-
Less trees are gonna get trimmed, like, there's things like that we know.
you can just say reduced.
That won't be known until the trustees meet.
Well, the library one won't, but like the trees, like we put half as much in the tree budget, so if you have a tree that's not doing great on your property, too bad, like.
No, it's not.
And
but
that, it's the public library, but it's the 47, it's my trees in my front yard, right? So if one of those
The
trees is
public
falling,
and the
it's,
easement.
You could say reduced services of the police department.
Yeah.
Right, like that's the one, like, nothing against trees, but that's the one where people are going.
Right.
Can you give,
And we're
really
not
get
gonna
a
have
copy of
fun
the email from the
about
police
that.
department?
Yeah.
So
No
what the
senior
police
center.
department said is
No
gonna be
senior
the
center,
impact.
no
Okay.
senior center, reduced police services,
But
and
I-
essentially no school.
No
That's
senior
just
center
a fact.
move, you mean?
Right.
No senior center move.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
those
reduced
three, I think those three
services.
talking points would be solid and
And the
motivational.
library waiver thing, and then the schools, of
Right,
course.
so we
Yeah.
invested in police officers that now we don't get to hire,
I mean, one thing you can't say in the library is we've already reduced material spending
Yeah.
in anticipation.
And the highway department, just limited ability to fill potholes and to maintain our
Lining.
roads and lines and trimming along guardrails and visibility. I mean, a lot of that,
It's not.
it sounds minor, but when there's no crosswalk that's clearly visible on a road, especially, like down in front of the old 7-Eleven where we've had multiple accidents and now we're gonna say, yeah, we don't have anyone to paint those crosswalks anymore. That,
Yeah.
it sounds like such a little thing, but it's,
It's could be a hazard.
yeah.
You know, if you don't have paint,
And
you
the
got
sad
foggy
part is,
night.
it costs us $9,000 a year to get that, and we can't even fund that $9,000 a year. That seems like such a small number.
And George he gets work done very efficiently.
Right, but
But
it's
he
for
needs-
everybody. Everybody's got a small number with a huge impact. And it just really
But
is.
I do think the police department's a big one for talking points, so this, what the police
Yeah.
department just sent, you can have that. You know,
So we're gonna meet on Monday
And Wednesday.
and Wednesday, and, we'll have our final numbers maybe on Monday.
Right.
No, we can't, we have to wait for the library, so that'll be
Budget
Wednesday.
final hopefully will be Wednesday.
So we'll focus on the warrant on Monday and any open budget questions that I have answers to.
Great.
All right.
And then by Tuesday, when we meet, you'll have the number that's gonna be.
we'll have done all the other numbers and played around with this.
She means she means.
The waiver.
The waiver.
Yeah, so
Calculation.
if what you're gonna offer the library is anything beyond the 20% cut that we gave you, if that 13,000 or 7,000 or whatever you turn out to be,
So
we'll
that's
have
an
that
agenda
number
item
before
for
Tuesday,
the-
right?
Is that
Okay, because that's our last chance to
Yeah.
do anything.
Yeah, we'll make it an agenda item and I'll check in with Catherine ahead of time, so
Okay.
we can figure it out.
We ready for
Great.
public comment? Dan, do you have something?
No?
Okay. I see a few people on Zoom. Do we have any public comment? Anybody need to ask anything? Say anything? All right, I'm seeing nobody having public comment. Any more public comment from the people in the room? All right, finance, would you like to adjourn?
I would like you guys to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Joe?
Nice, Elias.
Thanks.
All right, do I hear a motion from the select board to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye, Dan Murphy.
2-0. Can you call us out at 8:25?